Some people may question the existence and the purpose of the rule of two of the Sith. Why are there only two Sith Lords at a time? Why can't there be thousands like there are thousands of Jedi? Just like there were thousands of years ago during the days of the Old Republic. But here's the thing, for over thousands of years, thousands of Jedi Knights have gone across the galaxy to ensure peace and protection among the people, whereas the Sith are a bunch of assholes. The Sith crave ultimate power. They lust for it. They want to rule everything, and they want it all to themselves. The reason why there are thousands of Jedi Knights, aside from the fact that they are friendly and kind, they all want the same thing. They want to ensure the galaxy's safety. Whereas the Sith, they're all selfish and greedy and egotistical. The reason why there stopped being thousands upon thousands of Sith Lords is because they want everything all to themselves. They want control, and they're going to do whatever it takes to get it. So they betray and murder one another so they can have all of this ultimate power that only belongs to them. So logically speaking, other members of the Sith are rivals, because if everyone ruled the galaxy, nobody rules the galaxy. So what Darth Bane did after being the last man standing was he established the rule of two in order to preserve and continue the Sith Lord legacy and to prevent genocide by taking on one and only one apprentice, and then when the apprentice is ready to take over, they kill the master and then they take on an apprentice themselves, and then their apprentice continues that tradition.
The Sith killed each other, victims of their own greed. But from the ashes of destruction, I was the last survivor. I chose to pass my knowledge on to only one.
This was even explained in the Star Wars book, The Secrets of the Sith, which was narrated by Palpatine himself. He states that a millennium ago, the Sith and the Jedi were nearly equal in number, but unchecked ambition and infighting turned our order against itself. Weakened by their own hand, the Sith were nearly wiped from existence by the opportunistic Jedi. But there was a Sith Lord who survived the culling, the great Darth Bane. It was he who reshaped the Sith, creating a new hierarchy to ensure the survival of our order. His rule too dictated that only two Sith Lords could exist at any one time. There's a saying I've been hearing a lot over the years in regards to the Sith. There's the master who has the power and an apprentice who craves it. But if that's not enough, this actually came from George Lucas himself.
That's why there's only two Sith. There used to be a lot of them, but they all killed each other off because they were all fighting over who got to be the king. So it was always one Sith Lord and one apprentice. And the apprentice was always plotting to get somebody else to join him. Hey, you and me, we get together, we go kill the Emperor.
That guy, right.
As a kid, I thought the rule of two was dumb because I didn't fully understand it. But now, after learning about the mythology of the Sith and the rule of two, Darth Bane and all of that, and hearing the explanation from George Lucas himself, not only does it make sense, I actually think it's really cool and really smart world building. At the end of Phantom Menace, during the funeral scene of Qui-Gon Jinn, Mace Windu and Yoda talk about the rule of two and question about the existence of Darth Maul, wondering if he was the Sith Master or the Sith Apprentice. So, when it was revealed that Count Dooku was the Sith Lord, the question that was probably on every Jedi's mind was, is Dooku the Master or was he the Apprentice? If he doesn't have an apprentice, would that mean that he's the Apprentice? And if he's the Apprentice, where's the Master? And so to keep the Jedi from sniffing their nose into discovering Darth Sidious, and maybe potentially discover that he might be Palpatine, the answer to the Sith Lord's problem was Asajj Ventress. By keeping her around long enough, she has made it crystal clear, quote-unquote, that she is the apprentice to her Sith Master, Count Dooku, because there can't be more than two, no more, no less. The fact that Palpatine was using this to his advantage, knowing that the Sith's rule of two was common knowledge among the Jedi Order, was absolutely genius. Because while these two are running around with their lightsabers, he can still plot behind the scenes while in power of the Senate, and the Jedi would be none the wiser. Which the fact that Dooku has Asajj Ventress as his apprentice probably adds to Obi-Wan's belief that Dooku was lying when he told Obi-Wan this in Attack of the Clones.
What if I told you that the Republic was now under the control of the Dark Lord of the Sith? Hundreds of senators are now under the influence of a Sith Lord called Darth Sidious.
I mean, yeah, sure, he already didn't believe him anyway, but I think this further confirms in his mind that Dooku was lying, even though he wasn't. In my opinion, the fact that he uses Asajj Ventress as a pawn just further proves how much of an absolute mastermind Darth Sidious is. But just like how all good things must come to an end, and if what was said was true, Darth Sidious has felt that as Asajj Ventress has become so powerful, he's starting to suspect that Count Dooku is training her to potentially overthrow Darth Sidious, so that Count Dooku and Asajj Ventress are the ones ruling the galaxy. I could also see and maybe argue for that maybe he's just lying because he felt that she outlived her usefulness and there's no reason to continue the masquerade, having proven the point that Count Dooku is the only Sith Lord they need to worry about. But regardless of reason, in order to prove his loyalty, Dooku had to kill Asajj Ventress, or at least get rid of her. And very reluctantly, surprisingly, Dooku said yes. Something I really wanted to touch on was how much Dooku actually really liked Asajj Ventress.
My best agent, Asajj Ventress, will infiltrate the Jedi ship and either free Gunray or silence him.
Ventress, you are putting a great deal of faith in an operative who has failed us in the past.
She is a gifted assassin. You have my word. She will complete her mission to the letter. She is quite important to me.
Eliminate her.
She's my most trusted...
I said, eliminate her!
But there was no reasoning with Darth Sidious. He wanted her gone. And unfortunately, Dooku had to give Ventress the cold shoulder after he fired her, but even still, it felt like Dooku was not pleased with Darth Sidious's orders. I mean, when he got Savage Opress as his apprentice, he didn't clear it with Darth Sidious at all. As he was talking to Savage, he did say this.
I shall teach you the ways of the dark side. Soon, your powers will rival that of the great Sith Lord Darth Maul. We will be even more powerful than Lord Sidious. We shall rule the galaxy together, my apprentice.
I mean, I feel like this is fair to assume that Dooku was planning on betraying Palpatine, because this is the way of the Sith. This is what Sith do. This leads me to Darth Vader. We could talk about Starkiller, aka Galen Marek, but as much as I love him, we're not going to talk about him. The real reason why I brought up Vader was because of Luke Skywalker. In the Kieran Gillen 2015 Darth Vader comics, after Vader had been demoted hard, like really hard, because of the destruction of the first Death Star, he was put under the command of Grand General Tag, and having potential replacements to be the Emperor's apprentice, created by Dr. Silo, who created Darth Vader's suit. Like Dooku, Vader felt betrayed by Palpatine. He thought they were partners in crime, showing favoritism back when Vader was a Jedi. So Vader realizes he's in a dog-eat-dog world. You either rise or you die. But the thing that caused Vader to do what he's about to do was finding out that Luke Skywalker, the person who blew up the Death Star and has the original lightsaber, or the second lightsaber of Anakin Skywalker, was his son. This is what motivated Vader to try and take over the galaxy, not just for himself, but to also have Luke by his side. So he backstabs the entire Empire by stealing their money and earning his spot by also killing the other replacements. They also kill each other, so that's another story. The Emperor found out what Vader was doing through Dr. Aphra, aside from getting to his son, killing members within the Empire who would expose him, but basically he was trying to create an empire within the Empire. This is what brought the Emperor's faith back in Vader, because this is what the Sith do. They're ambitious, they thrive, they thirst for power. So by Vader trying to stab the Emperor in the back, he is fulfilling the rule of two by trying to overthrow the Emperor, which is what the Emperor wanted all along. Now that doesn't mean he's gonna sit back and take it. No, if you're gonna become the king, you gotta kill the king, but don't expect the king going down without a fight. But anyway, his whole goal, his whole motivation through all the thick and thin of it was to get to Luke Skywalker. That was his son, his flesh and blood. The flesh and blood he thought died in Padme's womb. He was gonna turn Luke Skywalker into his apprentice. Of course, we all know how that went down. But the fact that we got to see Luke give Vader the motivation that he needed to not only stay alive within the Empire, but more ambition to become better and potentially becoming Emperor Vader was all because of love was amazing to see. I mean, it puts the scene where Vader cuts off Luke's hand into new perspective, because obviously Vader has been Vader for such a long time. He's forgotten how to show compassion, or at least properly. All he knows is anger and hate. Technically speaking, while this is not new to Anakin Skywalker, this is new for Darth Vader. There's a lot to unpack about what Vader was thinking, or probably was thinking, during the events of Empire Strikes Back, but I'd rather save all that for another video. But you know, I would love to see a what-if story, like what if Luke had joined Vader and became Vader's apprentice? I feel like Vader would become a better person, all while Luke becomes a worse person, and would probably kill Vader in the end. All I gotta say, it sucks being a Sith. You always gotta look back over your shoulder, waiting for the day that your apprentice might try to kill you, on top of having jaundice eyes. I don't think being a Sith is all it's cracked up to be. Do you remember the time when Darth Sidious had hired Cad Bane to kidnap Force-sensitive kids? Yeah, that was awesome.
I foresee an army of Force-talented spies in my service, trained in the dark side to peer into every corner of the galaxy from afar. And my enemies would be helpless against such vision.
The first time as an audience member that we get to see this fully realized was in Star Wars Rebels. But if you're going in timeline order, this is further discussed in Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith, written by Charles Soule, which is a hill I will die on to tell you you have to read this story. One of the stories that the comic book series explores is Darth Vader meeting the Inquisitors for the first time, what his first reactions and impressions were, and how he trains them. Very brutally, might I add. Which getting trained by a Sith to do lightsaber combat, that's still pretty good. I mean, it worked well for General Grievous, and it worked for him even better in Legends, specifically in the 2003 Clone Wars micro series. Which, fun fact, Inquisitors were actually introduced in Legends. In fact, the main villain from Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knights was actually a former Inquisitor. He was a High Inquisitor, just underneath Grand Inquisitor, before the Emperor's defeat on the second Death Star, and becoming a Dark Jedi, leading his Dark Jedi followers to seek out the Valley of the Jedi, which then the Dark Jedi stuff is for another video. Now, some Star Wars fans who are unfamiliar with Inquisitors might say, hey, doesn't this break the rule of 2? There should only be 2 Sith at a time. Ah, but there's a loophole. In order to break the rule of 2, a Sith Master or a Sith Apprentice must recruit another apprentice. Ironically, if a Sith Apprentice has an apprentice, technically by breaking the rule of 2, you're actually enforcing it, because they're trying to kill the Master, which is how things go. Inquisitors are not Sith, they're dark side users who are made to hunt down Jedi. They're Jedi hunters, trained by Darth Vader. The thing is, they don't get the full package deal like Darth Vader does when exploring the depths of the dark side, aka becoming a Sith. Hell, Savage got this treatment when he was under Dooku. Dooku was giving him the full package deal, teaching him not only lightsaber combat, but also the abilities of the dark side. See, the Inquisitors are more like General Grievous. They are given lightsaber combat, so they have the skills to deal with a Jedi, but they are not trained in the dark side of the Force. The Emperor even said that the Inquisitors are not Sith, and are not granted certain information in order to keep them in check. Their only goal, their only purpose is to serve the Empire, specifically to hunt down the last remaining of the Jedi, who survived Order 66, like Cal Kestis, Ahsoka Tano, Kanan Jarrus. I gotta say, when I first heard about the Inquisitors, I thought it was dumb, but after learning more about them and especially watching Rebels, I kinda came around to it. The Inquisitor program is absolutely genius. I mean, again, this adds to the brilliant mind of Emperor Palpatine. I mean, think about it. Vader can handle Jedi, absolutely, but the galaxy is a big place, and he's only one guy, and the Emperor, you know, I mean, probably feels like leftover Jedi are just beneath him, so, and Vader can't be everywhere all at once, so you have Inquisitors, who are trained for this exact reason. I mean, the second sister in Jedi Fallen Order, holy mother god, like easily one of the best Star Wars villains, come on. Like the way she taunts you and gets under your skin while also having a troubling backstory, I mean, what more could you ask for? And I do have a soft spot for the Grand Inquisitor, especially since he's voiced by Lucius Malfoy himself. And an idea I kinda like is if the Jedi are not capable of handling an Inquisitor, they are inferior and not worth Darth Vader's time and lightsaber, which Kanan and Ezra have proven themselves, as well as of course Ahsoka, and I seriously cannot wait for the final confrontation between Cal Kestis and Darth Vader. I mean, it's gotta happen, right? I didn't think it was going to happen until he showed up in Jedi Survivor, but we'll have to wait and see. It'll be cool if it happens.